front. This is her from the side. Other side.
Why did you cut your nose? But she cut into it, and now it looks weird. We're gonna be reacting to a YouTuber that I've actually watched before. I used to watch some of her videos years ago, and she mostly talks about the plight of dark-skinned women. I'm not quite sure what made me gravitate towards that type of content. Oftentimes, when you are constantly force-fed a victim narrative and you yourself know that you don't agree with, wrongdoings, right? You agree with people being treated correctly. Sometimes what will happen is folks like that, like myself, will go out of their way to, support content that speaks out for those people, kind of like that savior BS. And at the time, I didn't realize that that's what was happening. Honestly, I didn't realize it, but I'm fully aware now, and I don't play those games now. Okay. I feel like a lot of content that is like this truly does hold back the very people that it's supposed to be helping. Constantly being force fed this victim narrative, constantly being told that you're not good enough for this. Oh, they'll never see you as good enough for this. It's counterproductive. How do you expect to grow if you're constantly being told that no matter what you do, you're always going to be at the bottom? What kind of depressing-ish is that? Not only that, it removes any kind of accountability for, the choices that you do have control over. It's a whole thing.
White, light, and racially ambiguous people are allowed to look average. They're allowed to look like everybody else. They're allowed to look common, and that is fine. And I feel like because Lupita isn't someone who wears a weave and shows her body, it's not considered sexy, because people can't fathom a dark-skinned woman being sexy if it's not very explicit. And it was kind of linked to what I was talking about with Love Island and Olandria, and how a lot of people were always talking about her body, and they're thinking about her body, especially about her body, because of what she can do for people, and that being kind of the main form that people can acknowledge when someone is sexy or beautiful.
It's wrong to look at the body and then decide whether or not there is sex appeal based on the body. Part of sex appeal is body language. Part of sex appeal is how you're shaped. I don't understand it. Are we supposed to just think that everything's sexy? That's what this really boils down to. When you have this type of attitude, you're well, participation trophies for everyone. But that's not the case. Not everyone has sex appeal. If people look at Lupita and they think that she's beautiful but not sexy, then okay. If people look at some other women that they think they are sexy but not beautiful, it just is what it is. There are going to be parameters that we look at specifically if we're talking about sex appeal, and that doesn't make it wrong. You guys don't consider her okay, and the opening statement was already crazy. Oh, light-skinned women, white women, ambiguous women, they're allowed to be average, they're allowed to be this. Everyone is. Let's be so for real. Everyone is. And really ugly white women get called out, okay? You see how they drag Pearl for filth, okay? They drag her every blue moon. There are a lot of light-skinned women that get made fun of for how they look. They're constantly dragging, what's that girl name? Halle Bailey? They're constantly dragging her, calling her ugly. I think the problem with a lot of these broads is that they only see problems when they happen to them. And then they completely turn a blind eye to when other people get that same energy. Everyone in every group has ugly and beautiful people. I've seen so many videos, memes, everything, making fun of all types of people, every race, creed, everything, calling them fugly. Fugliness is not exclusive for Black women. There are fuglies in all categories. But when you have such a victim mentality and you think that the world, everyone is against you, when you already put yourself at the bottom, then you fail to acknowledge the problems that everybody else has. And I can never get behind that, because look, we all have problems. There is a white woman out there who is ugly and she wishes she had the level of pretty privilege that Mayowa has. Because I don't think Mayowa's ugly. I think she actually has a very beautiful face. And I love the locks. I'm a lock girly. I love locks. When you already, in your own mind, put yourself at the bottom, then it's hard for you to truly empathize with people that you perceive as above you. Not that they actually are above you, but you perceive them as being above you. This is just happening to us, and everybody else is just so privileged. It really speaks to a lack of appreciation appreciation for who you are. I think that a lot of these victim mentality folks, they fail to take inventory of their blessings. They fail to take inventory of the things that they have going for them. You can't have what the next person has, but you can lean into what you have. Make what you have work for you. But you can't do that if you're constantly in that victim mentality and you want everybody else to just bend to your will. Bunny Breeze. My main issue with her, apart from how she diminishes the experiences of mixed people, is that every claim she makes can be disproven by observing the world around you for longer than 2 seconds. Ain't that facts? I find that a lot of these people that are super victim minded, a lot of these people that, just be so loud and proud about their bull, if you just think about it for 2 seconds, like you said, and observe, you would see the hypocrisy in what you're saying. You would see how it lacks validity. What's up, Sin Doll? Hey, sis. You said, why can't people just have a type and move on? Exactly. I don't get upset when I'm not someone's type. Even if I'm just talking about YouTube in general, there are people that come to my channel and they're like, I don't like her videos. Okay, you don't have to. But when you have that victim mentality, you feel like people owe you something and you feel like everything is a personal attack. And not only that, when you are desperate for validation, every single time someone says something that isn't praising your entire existence, then it's like, oh my God, they hate me. They don't like me. They this, that, and the third. And it's like, no, that's not the case. It's truly not the case. And I hate these conversations around preferences because it's just like, we all have preferences. You go to some of these women that are complaining that they're not Chris Brown's preference, and I bet you they have a preference. Should those people that you have a preference against be upset with you? I think not.
Well, it's just like this thing that people expect dark-skinned people to be okay with being called ugly, and their beauty is also always up for debate.
Every ugly person has to deal with that. Even pretty people have to deal with people calling them ugly. Like, this isn't a unique experience. And it's okay if you have feelings about people saying that you're ugly. I'm not saying that you can't have feelings about it, but stop acting like this is just so unique to you. Pearl gets called ugly all the time. Hell, I've called Pearl ugly, and I'll call her ugly again. She has a very hard face. Ugliness is not exclusive to Black women, and I really would like if Black women got some more confidence and stop viewing themselves at the bottom. Because the more you view yourself at the bottom, the more you're gonna have that I don't give a F mentality. That's why you have so many Black women, they don't even care how they lead a house because they already in their mind put themselves at the bottom. So it's like, why try? Why put effort? Yeah, put effort. You're not at the bottom. Stop putting yourself at the bottom. If you already have it determined in your mind that you're at the bottom and you start behaving in a way that puts you at the bottom, fulfilling prophecy.
Welcome to Mayowa's World. Hi, y'all. Welcome to Mayowa's World. My name is Mayowa, and on my platform, I talk about colorism, featureism, texturism, and anti-Blackness. Today, we're going to be talking about the dislike of the regular Black girl. So the first person I'm going to talk about is a woman called Naomi Palula. She is from Zambia, and she uploaded a selfie of herself that got a lot of hatred simply because she has Black features. This would go under the category of featureism, which is the discrimination of Black features.
Let's keep it a buck here. Yes, Black people typically have larger noses, but hers is extremely large, right? That is out of the norm large. So don't call that Black feature, right? Because it's like most Black people are not walking around with a nose that big. You're not gonna force me to tell you or to tell the world that I think she's pretty. She's not. I'm sorry. Visually, she's not pretty. Maybe there's somebody that does find her beautiful. And by all means, I hope she finds that person if she is looking for somebody to be with. I don't know her situation. But, I don't like the idea that we have to pretend like people are beautiful when they're not. Like they're visually pleasing when they're not. I'm not going to pretend like Pearl is pretty. Ew, no, we're not doing that. Just the same, any race of woman, if you're not visually pretty, it is what it is. Will I go out of my way to say anything about it? Most of the time, not. And the only reason I'm commenting on, her picture is because it's a part of the topic, right? If I just saw her picture out in the wild, I wouldn't say anything. I might think something like, dang, that's a big nose. But I wouldn't say anything. Like I wouldn't go out of my way to thumb thug to her to tell her about a feature that she already most likely is very clearly aware of. We need to stop acting like we're entitled to people praising us and glazing us. We're not entitled to that. We're not. I could post a picture and people could roast me for filth, pointing out every single thing that's wrong with it. I shouldn't have posted a picture if I didn't want to catch the heat. I'm not going to be forced into lying to people and telling them that they look good when they don't. That is dishonest. Let's say I'm about to go out and about and I'm with my girlfriends, right? And I ask them like, hey, do I look good? And rather than telling me the truth, they tell me, oh yeah, you look good. Whole time I look a damn mess. You are not my friend if you're not going to tell me the truth so I can go fix it. Now, with this situation, I don't suggest plastic surgery to folks. I don't believe in that. If that's something that people want to do, then by all means, if you like it, I love it for you. You know, it's always so awkward when people ask your opinion because they know they look a certain way, but then they want to get you to say nice things. So they'll ask you questions knowing good and well they don't want the answer. I've experienced that as well. That is very uncomfortable. It's a very uncomfortable position. Chase, you said exactly same as like a burn victim. I wouldn't say anything, but I can't help but feel how I feel. Exactly. I'm not gonna sit over here and be in the comment section, oh my God, you're so stunning. Like, no, I'm not gonna say anything. If it's a situation of praising you for getting past it, right? If it's a situation of like praising you for being confident in yourself, I can do that because I can appreciate being confident despite all of that. Suleiman, you said plastic surgery will not make you attractive. That shit will make you become a zombie. I've seen some crazy people with like the plastic surgery I've seen is insane. This is a prime example of why you should not let people play with your face. When she moved her hand, I was flabbergasted.
Hello guys, I wanted to show you my 5-week post-op nose reveal. This is what she's looking like. The front. This is her from the side. Other side. The nostrils, don't mind that thing in there. It's not a booger, it's just a stitch that still needs to dissolve. Overall, I am very happy with my nose and how she's turned out. Granted, she's still very swollen and the tip is still very high up, but as the weeks progress, it will drop. Again, this is it. This is her. I'm very happy.
That looks a mess. I'm sorry. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that episode of The Twilight Zone where they had like the woman and her face was all wrapped up. And then as they're going through the episode, they're talking about how ugly she is. And they're just unwrapping the bandages from her face. And you could see like her start to be able to see what's going on the outside because they do the camera angle from inside and then also from the outside, but they don't show you everybody else. So they just unwrap her face. And then when they get all the wrapping off, you look at her and she's gorgeous. Like she's stunning, like Marilyn Monroe, gorgeous. Everyone else had like these weird, like pig noses where it just looked like it was morphed out of clay and just was sticking up. It looked like old girl that we were just looking at. The nose looked like that. I don't know why you would do that to yourself. And her nose looked perfectly fine before. Now I can't play the music for you guys because it's she's being funny. So why did you cut your nose? Her nose was beautiful. Nothing wrong with your nose, but she cut into it. And now it looks weird. It's no longer in balance with the rest of your features. A lot of what comes from beauty is balance within your face. Like when your nose and your lips and your eyes and everything is just proportionate, that is when we see a lot of beauty. Are there variables that could change and you still find beautiful features within that? Absolutely. Like, I don't know if they're able to add more nose. Like, are they able to fix this? Like, if she wanted to go back to her previous nose, is there something that they can kind of insert in there to make it look like, well, it would never probably look like her nose the way it was before. It's absolutely sad. So I'm not a big proponent for plastic surgery. I'm not gonna tell the girlies to go do that. I'm totally against lip filler. You know, it's so dangerous. I wish people would appreciate the features that they already have. Live from NYC, you said, if you get work done, you can never go back to the way it was. You'll end up looking worse every time you try to fix it. Ain't that the truth?
This is all dealing with desirability and the harm that happens to Black women when they do not benefit from Eurocentric standards of beauty or stereotypical forms of beauty. People feel like because Naomi is somebody who is embracing her naturalness, her natural nose, and her natural hair, she is deserving of hatred and harm. I think for a lot of people, the only kind of representation that they want from dark-skinned women is women who benefit a lot from desirability. And when you are not that, you will suffer severely. Something that I think is interesting is that the concept of the girl next door and how the girl next door became a very like marketable aesthetic.
Weren't a lot of people making fun of her and saying that she was ugly? If I remember correctly, a lot of people were making fun of her and saying that she was ugly. When your worldview is me, 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 you don't see the plight of anybody else. You don't think that anybody else's situation matters because yours is just so bad. And then you'll look at somebody and say, oh, you're so privileged. Whole time they're fighting for their life. To go back to this woman, like, I think for her, like, this isn't a good look for her. This does not work with her features, but I think like she looks good for what she has. And that's all you can really do. You have to look smacks what you got. You have to work with the features that you have. The more you experiment with your hair, your makeup, your clothing, the better. Because then you can narrow down a style that works for you. You might not be as pretty as the next woman, but you can be the prettiest version of you. And that's all you can really do. But see, like I said, everyone wants validation from everybody. And it's like, you're not going to get that. You're absolutely not going to get that. And it's unrealistic to expect that. But of course, when you have that victim mentality, anytime someone is not glazing you, it's somehow them being oppressive over you, them being mean to you, them treating you so differently from everybody else. Whole time, anybody could get it. I've seen white women get roasted for their face. I've seen Asian women get roasted for their face. There was a woman recently with the chopped epidemic. She was talking about how the men were so ugly. She was like, oh my God, what's up with these ugly men? Let me see if I can find that video for you. They did her so dirt. Well, you know what? She did herself dirty. She shouldn't have came on here talking that this is old tea.
So as we're all very much aware, we are living through a chopped man epidemic, and there's a big shortage of baddies. It's gone so bad to the point that, like, if I see an attractive man, it genuinely makes my day. I was walking on the sidewalk earlier and I saw a cute guy in his car, so I waved to him and he smiled back at me. And obviously he drove away after that. But I was like, oh my God, a cute guy? This was at 6:50 p.m. It's 7:17 and I'm still like, oh my God. And I feel like this is going to power me through my evening. Like, wow, I actually saw an attractive man today. Like, diamond in the rough, needle in the haystack. Seriously.
So she's talking crazy about how men look. Y'all, when I tell you they turned her into the very man she was making fun of, you're a chap for me. You cannot get on these here internets talking crazy about how people look. The internet is ruthless. You look like the chopped man you were making fun of. Girl, shut the hell up. Whoever did this was diabolical, and I 100% support this message. Even if you were fine, people were going to roast you for just being so rude, outwardly rude for no reason, unprovoked. And I hope she didn't get in her feelings about it, because if she did get in her feelings about it, then she's a whole hypocrite. You can't get out here talking crazy and then get mad when people talk crazy back. I hate that so much. That type of hypocritical behavior is just peak annoying. People want it to be a situation where they can just beat on you. And then when you turn and you clock them back one good time, then they're like, why would you do that? That's so mean. Why would you hit me back after you've been beating on me for the last 36 hours? That's why I said with the whole Kelly Price situation, she had every right to drag the people that were making those comments about her. You cannot talk out the side of your neck and then be mad when people do the same thing to you. I hate that. Throw rocks, hide hands, play the victim. I hate that when everyone does it. If you start off with that rah energy, when they return it to you, don't be mad. I know I talk a lot of crap online, okay? I be roasting people. I'm not gonna get in my feelings if somebody makes a video roasting me.
The girl next door became a very like marketable aesthetic to symbolize someone who looks like the everyday white woman, and how that was seen as a very kind of cool and relatable aesthetic. I think dark-skinned women are expected to be constantly glammed up, and I think that when dark-skinned women are not glammed up, there is a certain kind of harshness and criticalness that they are met with, and how dark-skinned people aren't able to be seen as a girl next door. So when you see people who do look like this, you're shamed for looking like this, while simultaneously people can also make fun of people who get nose jobs, and when the nose job looks too severe, that is also criticized. But when your natural features look too natural, that's also criticized. So it's like this thing where you're forced into playing the game of desirability, but you are punished if you are not playing it well enough. And the same features that people hate on Black women are championed in other women.
Featureism, it is what it is. You know, even when you look at like small children, like babies, they tend to stare at people that are pretty. And even if you think about middle schoolers, they will tell you the truth, honey. They will tell you exactly where you stand on the looks category. I really hate this idea. Oh, well, they can't. A Black woman, just a dark-skinned Black woman just has to be glammed up. She has to be like, no, that is how you're perceiving it, because you hyperfixate on any situation where the Black woman is being called ugly. You hyperfixate on that and then completely ignore when that doesn't happen. And not only that doesn't just happen to Black women. How many times in the early 2000s, up until now, let's be so for real, where you will see a white female celebrity and she leaves her house with no makeup on and they drag her for filth. You know how many times I've seen pictures of paparazzi pictures of Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, all these white women, and they will tear them apart for looking natural, for not having makeup on, for having a little fupa. They tear them apart. So this is not a Black woman issue, but you perceive it that way because you already view yourself at the bottom. How can we forget all of that? People magazine or all these other magazines, you go and you look and you see, and they are just talking crazy about these women in their natural form. I'm sure if we saw a picture of Sydney Sweeney with no makeup on, people would be online dragging her for filth. It's the landscape. And it is not unique to dark-skinned Black women. It is not unique to Black women in general. Society as a whole puts that standard on all women. I feel like rather than learning how to play the game, we just sit over here and complain about the game while we lose. If I'm going to play the game, I'm going to play the game to win. I'm not going to sit over here and whine and complain about the game. Then it just leaves the question, did I lose because I'm just inherently going to lose? Or did I lose because I was too busy whining and complaining rather than actually putting in the work to get what it is that I want?
There was a lot of discourse around Lupita because a girl called Miss Georgie went online and talked about how she doesn't feel like Lupita is a pretty dark-skinned girl and that there could be better dark-skinned representation.
I feel like y'all just be picking the darkest, ugliest Black girl and giving her kudo points for being pretty. But like, it's just kind of like how y'all been shoving down people's necks with Lupita. And I'm not saying she's like but ugly. I'm not saying that. I just feel like I hate that when it comes to Black girl beauty standards, y'all always pick the struggle. Y'all always pick the struggle Black girl.
And I told y'all last time, and I'll tell you again, not you coming on looking like struggle, talking about how everyone chooses the struggle. Since you choose struggle when you get ready every day. You chose struggle when you got those ugly ass blonde locks put in your hair. You chose struggle when you decided to use a Sharpie marker to draw on your eyebrows. You chose struggle, okay? Be so for real. You look like something from Tales from the Crypt. Coming on here talking about Lupita. Lupita is very elegant, very beautiful. Lupita eats every single time. Girl, you don't even have a crumb on your plate. Lupita is a gorgeous Black woman with her beautiful Black features. I would say that her features are Black features, but her face is still balanced. Her nose is proportionate to the rest of her face. Why we can look at Lupita and be like, wow, that is a beautiful woman.
And I want to talk about this because, of course, there's just one person's opinion online, but I think that this speaks to a bigger discussion around the hatred or dislike of regular dark skinned looking women. So Miss Georgie was talking about how she feels like Lupita isn't a pretty dark skinned girl, and then she proceeds to show images of the dark skinned girls that she finds pretty. And something that I was realizing was that there seems to be two disconnects between Lupita and the quote unquote pretty dark skinned women. And it is because Lupita is someone who wears her natural hair. And it's also because Lupita is somebody who does not overtly sexualize herself. So there are a lot of channels online that call themselves exoticals. And there are women who believe that the best representation for Blackness is going to be women who are deemed exotic.
And I don't agree with that. We could have representation in all shades and features. That's what's so unique about us. Like, we come in so many different shades. There's so much variation when it comes to Black women. So to try to force everyone under that one umbrella and then have it be an ambiguous light-skinned woman, like, that doesn't make sense, because as Black women, there's just so much variation that you're not able to do that. Like, I hate the colorism conversation so much because it's illogical. Why not say that there are beautiful Black women that are dark-skinned, beautiful Black women that are medium-skinned, beautiful Black women that are light-skinned, and then ugly Black women that are all skin tones? Like, it's not that deep. We have to have some kind of way to victimize ourselves even further. Colorism is not unique to Black people. There was colorism over there in China. When I tell you, they have bleaching properties in like almost all of their skincare products. When I tell you, I had to look through the ingredients to make sure that whatever it is that I was using was not going to bleach my skin. Over there in China, a lot of them bleach, and you can tell. Over there, they have a lot of skin bleaching, a lot of colorism, and then also in India, they have a lot of colorism there as well.
And I think typically speaking, what would count someone as exotic is if you have a looser hair texture, if you have lighter skin, or if you have more skinny or thin features. Anyway, it's a weird side of the internet to me. And something that I also was realizing with it is that the kind of representation that they want or they like has a very specific kind of look. It is usually people who are wearing weave or benefit from texturism, as in have like a looser hair texture. So I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine. Her name is Khadija. She is from Germany, and she is so intelligent, and she needs to make a YouTube channel, but she's too scared because of all the hate, but she's really, really smart. But she was the one who was talking to me about how it's an expectation for Lupita to wear straight hair, because I feel like a lot of people think that Lupita is a perfect looking woman, but the thing that they don't like about her is the fact that she's not wearing a straight hair.
Never heard people say this. What side of the internet are you on where people are asking or wanting Lupita to have straight hair? I've never actually seen anyone say that. She's eating in this picture. I'm not a man, so I can't fully flesh this out, but I think that this is a very sexy picture. People hyperfixate on things that are negative. They hyperfixate on things that are negative, and then they never hear the positives. I vividly remember when Lupita first came on the scene, everyone was obsessed with her. The Black community was obsessed with her. White community was obsessed with her. Everybody was obsessed with Lupita and talking about how gorgeous she was and how she was entrancing folks.
This isn't the first time that publicly people have called Lupita unattractive. I remember that there was an athlete who also said that Lupita was unattractive. And I also remember Lupita talking about her experiences with colorism and how she viewed herself because of the ways that she was treated. So it's just like this thing that people expect dark-skinned people to be okay with being called ugly, and their beauty is also always up for debate.
Everyone's beauty is up for debate. There's literally a trend right now it's been around, of rating people. Oh, what do you rate yourself, 1 to 10? Everyone's beauty is up for discussion. It's not just dark-skinned Black women. Like I said, when you view the world from only one lens and you only care about your experiencing things, like, you're not gonna see that your problems are not unique to you. It's so unfortunate. It really is, because honestly, a lot of these Black women that are getting these weird nose jobs and all that stuff, if they just leaned into loving themselves, if they just leaned into appreciating themselves, they would be unstoppable. Re-uploader guy, you said, did you hear about the gorilla nose job? What in the hell is a gorilla nose job? I gotta find out what that is, because what in the actual F? Oh, Glorilla. I read that all the way wrong. I don't understand why she did that to herself. It looks insane.
When Anuk Yai came out and people were like, oh, she's so pretty, she's like a black Barbie doll. But then I saw that when Anuk had shaved her hair, people were really upset about her. People were really upset about it and said that she was masculinizing herself, even though she was the person who decided to shave her own hair. And often whenever people talk about the beauty of Anuk, they usually will use an image of her with straight hair. And I think that that's like speaking to the fact that you can only compliment dark skin beauty if it's playing into Eurocentric standards of beauty by having straight hair.
Did they or did they not clown Britney Spears for shaving her head? This is a woman thing. This has nothing to do with you being a dark-skinned black woman. This has everything to do with woman femininity being associated with longer hair. This has nothing to do with the blackness part of it. And see, I don't think these folks I don't think they realize that they make the same arguments as these anti-black racists that like to put everything on, well, it's because you're black. A lot of these things are related to so much else. There's so many other factors that can play into these conversations, but let's just ignore all that and focus on black this, black that. You're gonna get nowhere with that, because when you say these arguments to folks, they remember things like I do. They remember Britney Spears shaving her head and how they treated her. They remember how they treat all these white women, and when they leave their house with no makeup on and the paparazzi gets a glimpse of them, they're gonna look at you and say you're being disingenuous. That's what they're gonna say, and then they're gonna dismiss everything else it is that you have to say. So you're not gonna get the desired outcome that you're looking for. People, at most, they're gonna pity you. They're just gonna be like, oh, how sad. What can you do with pity? You can't do a damn thing with pity. Okay, you can't put pity in the bank, even though some people monetize their pity. The average dark-skinned black woman that is on this victim mindset train, you're not going to be able to pocket some money off of pity. I'm done treating people with kitty gloves because I have this perceived pity of them. I'm not going to do that. And I'm trying to train myself not to pity people, because that doesn't actually help anyone, right? Like, that doesn't actually make their lives better, me pitying them. What will make their lives better, hopefully, the hope is by being honest, upfront, and telling you like it is. Okay, you're being delusional. I'm gonna need you to step out of this delusional mindset and get it together. Look at the areas where you can actually change things, healthily change things, and then move from there. But if you are gonna sit over here and just hyper fixate on some nonsense, then guess what? You're gonna remain exactly where you are.